Alright, today I want to talk about special vehicles in GTA Online, and I want to talk about 5 new and awesome special vehicle concepts that I would like to see come to GTA Online at some point in the future. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I feel like this is the future. This is what Rockstar, if they do plan on doing more DLCs and stuff, this is what they're going to add to. No, maybe it's not going to be every DLC, but this is such a win for Rockstar if you think about it. These special vehicles, the ones that have already been released, they were so much money, and people still bought them anyway. People bought the Rocket Voltic, they bought the Ruiner 2000, even though they were $4 and $5 million respectively. Like, that's insane. And the other ones were no slouches either. The other ones were just as well. The other ones were just a little bit less expensive. They're still more expensive than most of the supercars in the game, and I think that's a win for Rockstar. So I definitely believe in the future they're going to be revisiting this special vehicle topic. And even though it might not happen, I feel like in the upcoming gun running DLC, that's a perfect DLC for them to expand on the special vehicle idea. One, because it's pretty much the next big DLC after the import-export DLC, and that's where the special vehicle sort of originated from. So it would just flow nicely, and there's a lot of ideas. I mean, if the gun running DLC is some sort of military DLC, then there's a ton of ideas, a ton of concepts they can go about adding to the game. But I have 5 here that I want to show you guys because I think they're really cool. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Another thing I do want to mention about this special vehicles, because I'm sure this, the first thought many people are seeing is, well, okay, that's fine, but what if we already bought all of them and our garage is full? I'm sure they could easily fix that problem. I mean, they could either somehow extend the garage that's already there, the vehicle warehouse that's already there, or they can just add another room to it. I'm sure it wouldn't be too hard to put a little blue circle somewhere down there, maybe by the elevator or whatever, and then it goes to a second room that's basically a carbon copy, but it can just store more special vehicles. So that, I don't think that would be a problem, and they could probably even charge more money for it like they did with the office garages. And another thing I want to touch on is special vehicles versus Pegasus vehicles. So with Pegasus vehicles, we already know that you can't customize them, and one of the biggest things people have been wanting in the game is Pegasus vehicle customization. Now, reading through some of the Rockstar developer posts, that the guy who was on 4chan, the really complicated situation that happened a few months ago, he basically was stating that certain things they've done, they don't want to go back and touch on or revisit or recode because it's either just too complicated or they just don't want to go through that process. They would rather just make something new. And I think you can sort of see that with some of the things they've added in GTA Online. And I think that's sort of why the special vehicle category was made. I feel like that is what Pegasus vehicles should have been, or maybe that's what they wanted them to be. And the example he gave, the Rockstar developer gave, was the cars example, because after the biker update, people were like, why can't we just get our cars delivered through the interaction menu instantly like we can with our bikes? That'd be amazing. But he said they'd have to go back and rework some things with the way the mechanic is delivered, or the way the mechanic delivers your vehicles and stuff. So that's why they didn't actually add that to the interaction menu with the cars. And I feel like that was the same thing that applied with the Pegasus vehicles. People wanted Pegasus customization and all this cool stuff for the Pegasus vehicles, but they didn't want to go back and rework everything. So that's why they just added this new special vehicle category. And I feel like that's what they're going to do in the future. This is going to be the new Pegasus vehicle category. Like I said, one, because it sells so damn good and so much money, so that's a plus for them. And then plus, it gives the community somewhat of what we want, where car customization on these Pegasus or special vehicles, that's a plus. You can call them through your interaction menu, which is a plus. So there definitely are some reasons why I believe they're going to focus more on these special vehicles in the future of GTA Online. Now get into the concepts here. These are just 5. I mean, there are a ton of ideas you could add to be a special vehicle. I mean, one of the ones, and I'm not going to include in this video, but one of the ones I've always wanted is the hovercraft from San Andreas. I mean, that'd be perfect for this upcoming gun running or military DLC. And that could fit totally as a special vehicle. It could be like the the Blazer Aqua or the Technical Aqua, whatever they call it. So that'd be nice, but again, I'm not going to touch on that. The ones we're going to talk about today are some sort of crazy, I don't want to say zombified vehicles, but whenever you go to the GTA 5 mods website and you always Google like zombie cars or whatever, there's just a bunch of cars with like crazy guns and crazy gear and stuff sort of put on them. And one, those mods always have a ton of downloads, so they're pretty popular. And two, it's right up the alley of what these special vehicles are. So the first one, this one is a Bugatti with guns, basically. And as you can see from the picture, I think it looks pretty badass. And I do want to say, I believe these pictures are from the Top Gear concept section. So these are based off of cars in real life, but you can sort of compare them to what their GTA counterparts are. The reason I chose this one, or the reason I like this one, is because it's a fast car. And I feel like a lot of the times with the Pegasus vehicles and even the special vehicles, there aren't that many, there really aren't any apart from the Rocket Voltic fast cars. And the reason, you know, I think we sort of need a fast car is because GTA Online is kind of fast paced. If you're in a slow car, unless it's armored, you're gonna die pretty much because everyone else is in super fast cars. So if, you know, for a special vehicle, you had one of the fastest supercars in the game, but it had some guns on it, I think that'd be kind of cool. There wouldn't be armor, as you can see, so people could easily shoot you out. It'd kind of be like the Reno 2000 minus the missiles, where like the windows are sort of open enough so people could easily shoot you out of it. But you can see the gun on the right-hand side, and it would probably just be like the limo gun, let's just say, because I think the limo gun is actually one of the more powerful miniguns in the game. We're not going to make it explosive like the Hydra because that would be too crazy, but having a minigun like the one on the limo that you can control, maybe with LB or something. I don't know what control they would use, but that'd be pretty awesome to just drive around in online. And again, it could be blown up probably really easily, which would suck, but you do have the benefit of it being super fast and super agile. So you could get away from people maybe a lot easier. And another thing, it's got the sort of off-road rims, so perhaps it'd be better off-roading, although I don't know how many people would actually take this off-roading, but it's a cool concept, it's a cool design, and like I was saying, a lot of the popular mods, a lot of the popular vehicle mods for GTA are something like this, where it sort of just makes the car a death race version of the car. And I think that's, one, simple enough for Rockstar to do if they are not focusing as much on GTA Online, if they're focusing, or if they have a lot of people focused on other projects and they only have a few people working on GTA Online. This is something I feel like that could easily be done. You just throw some stuff on the cars, make it work, boom. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm not a coder or anything, but I feel like it'd be easy to do, easier than completely starting from scratch and making new stuff. And two, it sort of mixes what a lot of people like, cars and guns. So I don't see a problem there. Maybe you might not like the look of it, but apart from that, I would like to see this as a special vehicle. Next up, we have this one, and this one would be a souped up version of the Insurgent. We already have the Insurgent as a Pegasus vehicle that has a gun on it, but this just takes it to the next level because, one, it's not a pickup, so everyone inside, for the most part, is safe. In this picture here, you can see on the windows, I would imagine that's some armor plating a little bit, so the windows would be more bulletproof. And then on the front of it, it's got the ramming sort of wedge that is on two of the vehicles, two of the special vehicles, the Phantom Wedge and the armored box fill. And we already know the Insurgent is somewhat like a tank if you're running into cars. So pairing that ability and that handling and all that with the wedge would be so much fun. Maybe on this one, instead of you being able to control the minigun, you'd actually have to have someone else. So you have to have two people in it to fully use it. There's also the minigun or the gun in the back. I don't know how that would exactly work. Maybe you could have two people on a gun. That would be badass if you had the wedge for the driver so they could move, you know, people and cars out the way. And then you have one gunner facing forward and then you have another gunner facing backwards. That would be a badass vehicle. And tell me you wouldn't buy that for, you know, $3-4 million in online. I know it's a ton of money, but I love the Insurgent. And if there was even more badass version of the Insurgent, I would totally pay for that, especially if this maybe carried 6 to 8 people like that pickup Insurgent can do. So that's the second one. The third one, this one is based off of the Brigade. And you can see here, it's basically just a more armored version of the Brigade. The Brigade, when they added it to the game, I thought was gonna be really awesome, but it sucked. And I feel like this is their chance to make it a lot better. You can see there's a giant freaking gun on the back, and maybe if they do wanna go anti-air route, you can make that a sort of somewhat of an anti-air vehicle or a weapon where maybe it doesn't do as much damage to the cars and stuff, but it just absolutely shreds the Hydras and the aircraft in the game. That would get people to buy this car, even if it's not that great. Let's just assume it's got some armor plated on it so it doesn't take just a sticky bomb or explosion to kill. Maybe it's like the Insurgent and it takes 5 to 6 or so. You can see it's got somewhat of a bumper there, so it'll push cars out the way. And it's got some sort of armor on the front, on the windows there, so not a bad one. There's a person sitting on it. I don't think they could actually pull that off. I don't think they have the animation for someone to sit on a vehicle without them flying off. What they could do with this one, if it were to be some sort of anti-air system, and let's just say it did only carry 2 people, maybe some people on the outside, but only 2 people on the inside, the co-pilot or the person in the passenger seat, they could hit the same button, when you're in a buzzard to take over the rockets, they could hit that same button and the same concept would apply. They would then be able to use and look around in the cannon cam, if that makes any sense, and they could look around and shoot, obviously, at aircraft. That would be kind of cool, and to sort of balance it with the aircraft, it's a big moving car or truck, so it's not like it's some small little thing, and I feel like if, you're a good enough pilot, you could easily take one out. So it'd be a good balance between aircraft and then you being on the ground. The fourth one we have is going to be the one that's, I think, the biggest stretch to imagine in online. One, because of the wheels, like those look so awesome, but I don't know if that would ever get done. And 2, I don't know if we actually have a car or a truck in GT that's somewhat like this. The one that, at least to me, you could sort of make look like this in GTA is the one from the Beach Bum. I know it's like super bad and it's super small now, but the Kalahari, what if they made a badass version of it? You make it a little bit bigger, you put those tires on it, you put some, armor and stuff around it, as you can see, and this thing's got 2 guns. It's got the gun on the freaking hood, and it's got the gun on the top. This one could be similar to the last one in that you'd have to have a co-pilot or a passenger to take control of the gun on the top, and then the gun on the hood would be driver controlled, and that one, you maybe could aim it around, or maybe just shoots right in front of you because it's, you're driving, there's not that many buttons that you can use. But I think that'd be a badass car. I mean, it's totally unique, it's totally different. This one would definitely be used for off-roading purposes more, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that do want to see some sort of new off-road vehicle, so if they made it a special vehicle, then I think it's sort of a win-win, because you get people who like the gun aspect, and then you get people who like the off-road aspect. So that's definitely up there with the ones I want to see. And then the final one, this one is, I guess, somewhat similar to the Phantom Wedge, and maybe this is what the Phantom Wedge should have been. We have this sort of 18-wheeler. Now, it doesn't have the actual wedge part. This one's more of an armored and weaponized version of an 18-wheeler. So maybe instead of making the Phantom Wedge, they can make the Phantom Armor or something. They could figure out a name for it. But it'd be the Phantom just sort of looking like this. And I don't know how they would fit the back part. Maybe like just when you drive it out or when you spawn it, it spawns with that already on it. And another thing, I don't know how people would actually get on the guns, at least on the back, but tell me that doesn't look awesome. And what they could do, because I'm sure an 18-wheeler would be slow as hell, they could make this thing armored to the freaking bone. Like, it would take maybe 10 rockets to kill it, maybe even more, I don't know. But it would just be so cool to see this thing flying, or not flying around, but driving around in online. And it's kind of like the concept from the Death Race movie. Like, they had that 18-wheeler with a bunch of stuff. They had like a flamethrower and stuff on it, but this would probably be a more realistic version. And I think it would be a lot of fun to drive around. So there you guys have it. I know this might have been a super long video, but I just wanted to share with you guys these 5 awesome special vehicle concepts. I feel like each one is different enough and is new and somewhat unique to, to what we already have in the game. Therefore, I feel like these would be good additions to it. Let me know in the comments section what you guys think. If you do like this video, and if you appreciated any of these designs, then please drop the video a like. More people that see it, maybe we'll get recognized, and Rockstar might add it to the game, or add any of them to the game. The final question I'll sort of ask you guys is, would you want to see more special vehicles added? I feel like while many people may say no due to the pricing, regardless of prices, would you like to see more? Anyway, I'll leave it there. So thank you all for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not already for more awesome GTA content. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.